What's up, guys? It's Showtime's Fight Forum. You already know what it is. This is your boy Showtime. Thank you guys for watching. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. And you know we talk all thing fights. All right, so that boxing, MMA, it don't matter. So I'm very excited for today's show because we're talking about a fire card, one of the best cards of the year. That is UFC 275. And I mean, let's just dive right into it, man. I gotta brag a little bit. I gotta do my little dance on him a little bit because you know brother was 3-0, I was undefeated today. Yeah, I only did 3 fights, but I was perfect. You know, some people are gonna discredit me, Chris. Try to play me, talk about some. It was easy. No, it was not, because I was almost wrong, and then also like one of those fights. Well, 2 of those fights actually was tough to call because you never know. It's MMA. Anybody can win. Anybody can lose. So don't disrespect me, cuz. And also, man, my views been going up, man. Keep it coming, man. And some people been commenting. Some have been disrespectful, but I appreciate it. Keep it coming so I can comment and we can go back and forth. I don't care. So I ain't scared of you guys. Go ahead and comment. Let's first talk about the first fight that I want to bring up. And you can talk about the whole entire card because the card was phenomenal. Nothing but finishes, for real. And if there weren't finishes, there were still good fights. Some people would say the co-main wasn't the greatest, which, okay, that was probably one of the worst ones of the card, but everything else was pretty fire. But like I said, let's get into the ones that I actually talked about and broke down last week. Now, the first fight, which was which was Joanna Jędrzejczyk versus Weili Zhang. And that fight, we already know, one of the greatest, well, not one of the, I'm stamping it. It was the greatest female fight of all time. And realistically, it was one of the greatest title fights ever, period. And I figured going into the next fight, it wasn't going to be anything close to the first one because normally people get beat up like that. You don't want that to happen again. Like, people say they want wars. Like, everybody don't go to Justin Gaethje route and say, let's get right back into the war. So people saying, I'm probably going to save my brain cells and chill out. You saw Joanna's head, and if you didn't see Joanna's head from the first fight, look at that. It was bad. So, yeah, I knew that possibly wasn't going to happen again. However, realistically, in the first round, they was scrapping. I've said it before, I didn't trust Joanna's 2-year, vacation, basically. I mean, granted, it was good for her and her brain cells, but at the same time, you weren't active and you're going right into one of the best females in that division, and that division is stacked, and she's literally one of the best. That's a tough task to ask for anybody, and not to mention she's 35. You're getting older. And I already mentioned about the weight cut and all that other stuff. So I predicted Weili to get a KO. If Joanna had fights in between, I might have went a different route, but she didn't. So I'm always gonna go with the person who's been active and who's gotten better. Like, Weili has gotten better. One thing I didn't expect, one thing I was completely wrong about was the takedowns. I knew she was possibly going to go for takedowns because that's been part of her game now. I didn't think Joanna would give it to her. However, she didn't have a choice. Let's keep it a stack. Weili said, yeah, I'm taking you down whenever I really choose to. And it just shows that her wrestling has evolved. Even from the Rose fight, it's gotten better. So even going into, if they ever fight again, I'm probably going to once again go with Weili because Weili is showing that she's growing. I mean, the stand-up was kind of even kill for when it did happen, but Weili went for the finish, man. She was not playing these games. She said 3 rounds, I don't care. We're not going to see that. When she took her down and just started laying hammers to her face, I'm like, oh, this is different. Zhang is not playing with this girl. And I mean, I said this before about the mental edge. It's like, I beat you before. Some people have that. Some competitors have that. It's like, if I beat you, even if it was barely, now I own you. It doesn't matter what you do now because I already know I can beat you. It's kind of like the Frankie Edgar. He was like, I think I could beat BJ Penn. And it was a close fight. Some people thought he lost. They fought again. He was like, now I know I can beat him because I beat him the first time. And he dominated the second fight. So that's some people had that mentality. Weili had that. I was perfect with the prediction. I said 2 round knockout, and that knockout was real tough. It was beautiful. Good gracious. No one saw it coming. Clearly, Joanna didn't. And then also predicted the retirement. That's another thing. So I'm technically 4-0. I predicted the retirement because she didn't fight for 2 years for a reason. At the end of the day, she's enjoying her life. She's made enough money. Her legacy is already stamped. Most people consider her the greatest of all time at her weight. I don't, but I think she's number 2. Still, it's nothing to, it's not bad to even be number 2. And now she wants to be a businesswoman, be a mom. And you got to remember, man, these are women. Women, I expect personally I would say all women, but I expect a few women to retire earlier than men would, specifically because women want to be moms. And at the end of the day, you got to do the 9-month and then you have to, like, the people who actually want to have babies, because obviously some people are lesbian and they're not going to have kids and things like that. I'm talking about the ones that actually want to give birth. Some want to just dedicate their life to being a mom and, you know, live their life afterwards and live a short-term life. Kind of what Rhonda did. Rhonda wanted to be a mom and she wanted to be a wife and all the other stuff, and that's power to you. Like, congrats. We don't know what it's like to give birth. I have so much respect for the Peñas and the Karate Hottie and all of them who have given birth and still come out here and fight, man. I'm retiring right after the birth. So I'm telling you, women are the strongest people in the world, and it's not even a debate. So yeah. Anyways, back to the actual fight. I mean, what's next? We already know. Weili. At first, I was kind of against them getting the first round. I mean, giving a title shot to whoever won, because I thought Marina deserved it. However, you know, some people didn't think Marina won her last fight, and the way Weili looked, I mean, come on, yo, how can we not want to see her in a title shot again? So, I mean, it is what it is. She's gonna fight Carla, and it's gonna be she ain't Rose. She ain't gonna fight like Rose. She ain't scared of those takedowns. However, that doesn't mean she won't get taken down, because Carla's a strong wrestler. Some people sleeping on her. We'll break that down once the fight actually is announced. But that's gonna be a fun fight. So now let's talk about the co-main, and that's the one that's very controversial in my opinion. As you know, I picked Valentina Shevchenko. I also told you guys, do not sleep on Talia. She is a good fighter, very good. She is young. I told you she's long and explosive. She's strong, and we saw every bit of that. And she made Valentina look human. She made her fight, not Valentina's fight. And I mean, what can you say? So personally, I will say, even though I was right, in my scorecards, I was wrong. I had it 3-2, Talia Santos. I thought Talia won the first 3 rounds, and then I thought Valentina won the last 2. I think the headbutt definitely played a factor into the later rounds. Also, the championship factor. She's never been in a 5-round fight. Valentina's been there before. She also has good cardio. She was able to dog it out. And not being able to see out of one eye is going to obviously hamper you. But Talia, in my opinion, still won. She out-grappled her easily. She was much stronger. And, I mean, she had the position control. Like, yeah, here's the thing, and I'll also say this. I'm not too mad at the 3-2s of Valentina. Because at the end of the day, one thing I've said this before, which is, if you're going to do top position, and this is speaking from a wrestler, you have to do damage. If you're not doing damage, I don't care about what you're doing for real, honestly. Like, I don't. Like, you need to land something. Talia didn't do that for a couple rounds. She had the back mount. She took her back, which was good. But sometimes she just laid on top. At least pity pat her. I don't even care. Like, at least go to Chael Sonnen route and just cover her mouth, hit her in the head, hit her in the body. Like, I need action, activity. I don't need you just to lay on her, which she did, and eventually caused a stand up in one of the rounds. So I'm kind of happy that they're not rewarding this anymore. But at the same time, I thought that the rules were, if you have top control for most of the round and the person didn't really do much after or before, then the person that has the top control wins. So I gave the 3 rounds to Talia. And unfortunately, that's not how it went. The 4-1, I think it's atrocious. I think it's an awful card. There's no way Valentina won 4 rounds. She could definitely have won 3. 4, that's a stretch. That's a stretch. What's next for both, however? I think they should rematch. Even if Talia won, I would have said, let's do a rematch. She lost, but at the end of the day, one, there's not too many people coming up at that division that poses a threat or anybody's interested in right now. You have like Casey O'Neill who's coming up the ranks. However, I don't think right now she should have that fight. I think the fight was so close that you have to. You have to. Now, and also Talia can get better. Like, that headbutt was accidental. It wasn't intentional. You're fighting. Headbutts are gonna happen. An intentional headbutt would be like Victor Ortiz did to Floyd or whatever. That's intentional. That was clearly an accident. You run into each other. It happens. Especially with the way Valentina's style is, because sometimes she'll counter and she darts in, and poof, it'll clash. It happens. So it wasn't the most fun fight. It was a pretty, I'm gonna say technical fight, but it was a very grueling fight. And I mean, we saw the kinks in Valentina's game, which honestly we saw at 135, which is she can't get taken down, she can't get out muscled. And Amanda Nunes did it, and Juliana Pena did it too. She just doesn't have the good submission defense. That's why she got submitted. But we've seen that people can't control her and take her down. So that's a game that she still needs to work on. Talia obviously knows. People now at 125 knows the hole. Once we see the holes and chinks in your armor, now we're gonna see how dominant you really are afterwards, because you've been demolishing 125. Now we see that these dogs are coming. So I'm excited for it. Now, the last fight. Woo! First, I was already shouting fight of the night. Then I was like, oh no, this is fight of the year, easily the fight of the year right now, which was Jiri versus Glover Teixeira. I had no idea Glover's chin would hold up. Had no idea that Jiri would honestly, like, his fight IQ was so low. And you can also kind of say the same. You kind of say the same thing for Glover, but more so Jiri. The fight was back and forth. I can't even think of the last time I've seen a fight that was that back and forth so many times. Like, legitimately, every round was almost the epitome of the same thing. Like, it's like 1 second Jiri's piecing him up. Next thing you know, Glover's taking him down and piecing him up on the ground. Then at one point, Glover's touching him up on the feet. And then next thing you know, Jiri's coming alive and about to get the finish. Then it's just reversals on reversals on reversals. And you think Jiri's gassed out and he just like unloaded himself completely. And next thing you know, he's got cardio again. It's like, what in the heck is happening? What is happening? I was so confused. Every second I was confused. And at one point I thought Jiri was gonna get TKO'd because he kept getting mounted. And he kept, every single time Glover got that single, not every time, I'm sorry, but every time though that he got the single and brought it up, every time he lifted it up over his shoulder, Jiri would do the same dumb thing, which it can work, but he already showed twice already that it didn't work, which was he would go for the roll. He would go against the roll, he would either put himself against the cage and Glover would cover him, or he would be in the middle of the octagon and Glover would still cover him. It's just not part of your game. You're not that good when it comes to the roll, unfortunately. To scramble out and be able to get back on your feet. So every time you got punished and you got put on your back and you got punished for it, it wasn't smart. Another thing, Jiri is a lot bigger than I thought. That man looked humongous versus Glover. I didn't know he was that long. I didn't know he was that tall. Like, I'm granted, obviously you know the heights, but it's different when you see it against another person and it's like, oh, this dude's ginormous. And he used that range to his advantage, especially in the stand-up department. And he was able to piece him up. But like I said, Glover's chin held up, and it kind of showed that Jiri has power, but he doesn't have like a Anthony Johnson or even a Glover Teixeira, who was really piecing and hurting Glover a lot too. But Jiri obviously packs a punch, and we saw that because he hurt him a few times. I mean, bruh. And then to get the finish, last 30 seconds, and Jiri was gonna lose. Let me tell you guys, Jiri was losing the fight. Scorecards already said. They said if it would have been 30 seconds, Glover would have retained his belt. That is championship heart. That is championship condition. Everything you want in a championship fight happened in that fight. I've never seen a fight that was that crazy in the stand-up department, on the ground. Glover being crazy by going for the guillotine, which I get. Because at the end of the day, if you're a finisher, you go for finishes. That's a Charles Oliveira thing. If you're a finisher, that's what you go for. You don't want to always play it safe. Granted, that probably would have been the smart thing to let him out and just throw bombs, which he should have done because Jiri was hurt. However, he didn't do it. He lost, and that's why we love this sport. I mean, I cannot wait. Jiri, who's next? Maybe Ankalaev, maybe a rematch. I don't know. Glover said he wants to fight again. There's plenty of people at 205 for him to fight, but it's just so top heavy. Like, I don't know. Like, who's going to be Dominic Reyes? But then again, he's been getting pieced up too. I don't know. Probably not him. But it'll be a good stepping stone, I guess, to get back into the win column. Yeah, so, Jiri, obviously, if you're not going to do the rematch, I think Ankalaev is a really good fight for him. I'm just surprised at how good that fight was. And I cannot wait to watch it again. And, yeah, definitely a fight that's probably going to go in the Hall of Fame. I'm letting you guys know that now. That was that crazy. So, as always, man, I want to hear what you guys think of the card, what's next for these guys, and, of course, as always, comment, like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. This is Showtime's Fight Forum. Make sure y'all...